Last year, I accidentally took a sci-fi course because it had the most interesting description. It was something about paradigm shifts, history, and time travel. It said nothing about science fiction. I'm not the biggest fan of this genre, so I thought maybe this will inspire me to read more of this. I've never been interested in natural sciences, and I had my prejudices against the genre, largely caused by TV shows and movies. Stories that focus on action, adventure, and technology aren't really my thing most of the time. Fiction should be entertaining, but what I'm really looking for is wisdom and aesthetic satisfaction. Sometimes the gimmicks are there to distract the readers from the fact that the book is hollow, and others, the book is great and the gimmicks only enhance its greatness. For 2 weeks, I'm gonna try to be more open-minded and find something of value in the sci-fi novels I picked. They're all pretty popular, they all have interesting premises, and they're all different from the literature I usually read. I've been wanting to read Dune by Frank Herbert since I saw Quint's Ideas' first video in the series. I've been following him for A Song of Ice and Fire content, but when I saw how passionate this guy was about these Dune books, I thought, maybe I should give them a try. And then my sci-fi class professor advertised them as the greatest sci-fi series ever. No pressure. The first book in the series is about the Atreides family that moves to the planet Arrakis, or Dune. Duke Leto, the father, becomes the governor of this planet, which is the only source of the spice melange. Apparently, the spice has many uses, and it's the most valuable substance in the whole universe. Although Paul Atreides, the son of Duke Leto, is the protagonist, at least in the first book, Frank Herbert was trying to subvert this hero archetype. The Duke's partner, Jessica, is also a very important character. She is part of this Bene Gesserit sisterhood, and she has some sort of special abilities. I hope that the novel is as nuanced and thought-provoking as advertised, that it has a lot to do with the mystical stuff I love so much, and that it's an interesting commentary on the power structures and sociology. I know that the world building is very impressive, but as I said, I'm not really interested in that. It can be a nice bonus thing, the sandworms, the different cultures and religions, the houses with different values and goals. That's nice. I also have a companion book, an encyclopedia that can help me in case I'm lost. I'm really excited to read Dune, even though some people say it's slow and complicated. I just wanted to make me ask questions and look at things a little bit differently. The next book I'm going to read is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've heard so many great things about this author. She was influenced by Taoism, and she received so much praise from people who aren't even interested in sci-fi and fantasy. This novel is about Genli Ai, who comes from Earth and is trying to convince the nations of Gethen to join the Acumen, a sort of confederation of planets. Something is different about them. They are neither male nor female, but they can become one or the other for reproductive purposes. Apparently, the envoy refers to everyone as he, which could be a reference to the fact that males used to define everyone else's identities. Also, he's seen as a deviation from the norm on this planet because he has a gender. I assume that this book discusses the perception of gender, colonialism, diplomacy, and that it's more poetic than your usual sci-fi novel. I already read the introduction where the author challenges the assumption that sci-fi writers should predict the future. The actual purpose is to tell one of the truths, but isn't this the purpose of all books? The next one I'm going to read is a post-apocalyptic novel, The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. The protagonist wakes up in a hospital and discovers that everyone around him is blind. The Triffids are some sort of super plants that attack people. I wonder if they have feelings here, if they're characters, or if they're just faceless killer plants. Like other dystopian novels, I guess that The Day of the Triffids will comment on human nature and morality based on the people's reaction to the apocalypse. Side note, going blind is one of my worst nightmares, so I'm very curious if the book explores the psychology of the people who have to go through this experience under such horrible circumstances. Hyperion by Dan Simmons is the last book I'm going to read for my sci-fi tasting. It's basically the Canterbury Tales in space. I hope that the Pilgrims' stories are connected in some way, that the book isn't just an excuse to combine a couple of short stories in a novel. But if they're cool backstories for the main characters, that's okay too. There's also a scary creature that isn't called Shrek, as I initially thought. As far as I know, all these books are soft science fiction, meaning that they all explore social sciences rather than natural ones. This is just what I'm interested in at the moment, so if you have any warnings or recommendations, please write them in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye!